We are short a member because Susan has left us, but I understand from the first selectwoman that we will be getting a replacement, presumably by our next meeting. And so they found a replacement for Susan, and there we are. So let's go. Let's see what we got to do today.
Joe, we can't vote on the minutes, they're not ready yet, we'll have to vote next month.
The minutes aren't ready.
No, not yet.
Then we'll wait and do it next month. Property managers report. Crystal.
All right, so in terms of both communities, the Royal and the Heights, we finished finally all of the HVAC work. So we cleaned out the lines, we changed out the filters. So that's all done for this season, and we won't have to come again for another 6 or 7 months.
In both buildings?
In both buildings,
Okay.
both, that's for both. For just the Royal, right now we're working on all of the quarterly, annual alarm and sprinkler inspections. So we have sent out multiple notices to the residents about coming into the unit, making sure that all the sprinklers and fire alarms are working the way they should be. We did run into a little problem where they were scheduled to come out, they didn't come out, we had to send out another notice. But I've met with the manager from the company and that should not happen anymore. So that's what's going on at the Royal. For the Heights, the second fence arrived for the one-way driving. So
Yes.
we had to wait a little while because of the wood before we can paint it, but we will paint it white
Okay,
soon.
great.
So that's coming up. And then we finished, like I said, all the HVAC, so now our next project for the Heights is we're gonna power wash all the fences. So that's gonna start for all of August and September, so we can have that done.
Okay. Just a comment on the Royal, and some of you can back me up on this. We did get multiple notices that the fire alarm systems were going to be tested. And in spite of all those notices, I got people asking me, what were all the alarms going off for? You got a notice. Oh, is that what that was all about? Because, you know.
So they're different, it was a little confusing because there are different inspections all done by the same company, but one is for fire, one is for sprinkler. We're trying to do it all in one day next time, but.
Crystal, if you get a notice pushed under your door that says we're going to be testing the fire alarm systems, and the next 2 days the fire alarm goes off, you can pretty much expect that that's what the noise was all about. I mean, it wasn't like we kept this a big secret.
Right.
Anything else about what's going on here? We're in reasonably good shape?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well both right now.
Old business. Where are we with the election of the resident commissioner?
So the residents have until this Saturday to finish. Saturday is the 31st? Yep, until this Saturday to drop off all. So basically Monday when we come back, whatever's in the Dropbox for whoever submitted their form, that's it. And then from there we'll start the date for when we're actually going to hold the voting.
Okay, we'll see how many candidates we have step
Correct.
forward.
I'll let you guys know by next
And then we'll
Monday.
make a decision on
Yeah.
when the voting will start and how we'll do it.
Might be, are we talking 2 weeks out, we're talking farther?
I mean, once we have everything in by next Monday, I don't see why we should go for more than 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
expect this to be done before our next meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Todd, the
sound guy?
next item on the agenda is where are we with our sound situation?
We have continued to make some progress with the sound. We have results back from the acoustical engineer on the work that had been done for the 2 sample units. They've all tested out positively that the remedial work has improved the sound continuation between the 2 units. So we now at least have a game plan for that, or a fix for the sound issue. And what we're working through right now is the logistical plan to reach out to residents and how we are going to actually implement the construction work that's needed. We will also need to reach out to the town. We'll need to coordinate with the building officials to the extent that some of this work impacts some of the construction there. So we're going to work through that process, and over the next 2 weeks, I think it's probably the most important piece to all of this, is that each of the residents will be contacted by either Crystal or Myrna. Most likely Crystal will be heading that up, and we'll be meeting with each resident individually to go through if their apartment is affected by this and what the plan is to help with the sound transmission between the units.
Just to clarify, the building has the problem. It's not individual units. The building has the problem. But the solution that we've been looking at involves doing something with the walls that are shared. So if we do the repair work, if we implement the solution on one wall, we don't need to go to the next apartment and do the exact same thing on the other side of that wall. So there will be some apartments that will be impacted and other apartments that won't be impacted. And we'll talk with each of the residents individually, but I don't want anybody to think they're getting work done in their apartment and I'm not getting work done in my apartment. It's by virtue of the way that the solution evolves, there's no need to implement the solution on both sides of the wall. So we'll look with our engineers at the most efficient way to get all of this done. With look, there's going to be everybody's going to be impacted. There's going to be construction work going on at the site, so everybody's going to be impacted.
Why wasn't picked up the building inspector when they finished every phase of the job? The building inspector was supposed to come in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the building, as it was built
And designed it.
and designed, passed all the inspections. There was no failure on the inspections. It was the design that did not accomplish what we asked the designer to accomplish. And again, you have to remember, there are building specs and there are fire specs, all these specifications for what you can and can't do. We met and exceeded all of those specifications, but we set, when we set out to build this building, a higher standard for what we wanted because we knew the building was going to be susceptible to this type of issue. This is a building that is occupied by seniors. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there could be a problem with televisions being too loud, people talking too loud on the phone, all these types of things. So when we went to the designers, we said, design that into the spec. Well, they did. They just didn't design enough into the spec. And it wasn't until the building was occupied. All the tests that we ran against the spec that was set for the design of the building originally. And all those tests were successful. It wasn't until the building was fully occupied that we began to understand the extent of what the problem was. So now we have to go back and fix it.
I have a quick question. You mentioned the results that were back from 2 units that you tested. Are there 2 unoccupied units that?
Correct.
So there's 2 unoccupied units and you did the design modification?
The mock-ups, yep.
In both of those?
Correct.
Did you do the same?
No, we tried several different ones.
Okay.
It ended up with one that proved to have the best results, as well as the most effective construction of getting in and out.
All right.
So the least disruption for the residents.
So now when you meet with the individual residents and you have a game plan that says, Betty will need your, I'm just making this up, Betty will need to work on your unit for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever it happens to be. What if, is there going to be the same consistent message to each tenant? If everyone gets to move or not move or stay or not stay?
That's the purpose of those individual meetings,
Okay.
is to go through individual concerns and how we can address each apartment. Because some of them are a little bit different in terms of their configuration and how the actual work is going to be done and how long it may take.
So what if a tenant, whatever the plan is, if a tenant will have a certain amount of time to mull this over?
Absolutely. Yes.
So you'll meet with the tenant, you'll say, we're going to move you for 3 days or 5 days or 10 days or whatever it happens to be, but the tenant will have the right to not make that. I don't want a tenant to feel pressured, oh, you're having this meeting, you have to make this decision right away.
Correct.
So
Right.
the
Yeah,
tenant,
no, everyone can go back and reflect on it and ask the questions that need to be asked, and then, and then the plan's going to be put into motion.
okay.
Once everyone is up to speed, once everyone has a certain comfort level with the implementation of the work. that's when it will get done.
And this is not money that the board is gonna have to be,
No, it's nothing to do with,
No.
correct.
right? None of our remediation
No.
funds or anything?
No.
No, okay, okay.
When will you explain to the board what you're doing? It'd be nice if we knew before the tenants knew, so we have someone.
Yeah, I mean, the general application in layman's terms is we're putting a resilient channel in, we're adding isometric clips, which are clips that do not allow for as much vibration, and then we add 2 layers of 5/8 of sheetrock on the outside of that resilient channel.
So you're putting, what's it called again?
So isometric clips
Isometric clips?
Yep. with 2 layers of sheetrock and a resilient channel.
And what is a resilient channel?
It basically, it makes a gap between the stud wall or the existing sheetrock wall and the new 2 layers of sheetrock wall that will go on the outside.
So then.
So therefore, everything's not sandwiched together and that therefore transmitting sound. You're creating an air barrier in between, which then lessens the ability of the sound to transmit from.
So we're talking maybe 3 inches or so of space?
Yeah, 2.5, 3 inches, that's about right.
Okay, okay, all right.
When you're all said and done.
And the plan is to do this on the walls where there are apartments adjoining each other.
Exactly.
For instance, not that I'm different than any other tenant, but the likelihood of having to do any remediation in my apartment is virtually non-existent because I do not, the only wall I share with another apartment is the bathroom wall. I don't share a bedroom wall because I'm that end unit above the community center, and so all my exterior walls do not abut against another. One question, did we look at the noise between the apartments and the corridor? And is that also included in some of the remediation?
Those walls are not being touched due to different configurations there. So you have everything from cabinetry on those exterior walls to obviously doors and closets. And then a portion of the bathroom also exists there. So it does not have the same condition as the other ones because you have other components there.
Okay. Don't be surprised if you get some pushback on that because there are people who are going to say, as people are walking up and down the corridor, there are noise issues.
Sure.
You know.
And there are bathroom issues from what I understand,
Well,
right? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Bathroom, bedroom, and my living room, 3 walls.
Right. So
Yeah,
my-
and all 3 walls will be addressed.
Okay.
What about ceiling from apartments above that don't have carpet?
yeah,
And
we've
then
not.
living room?
We've not seen a serious problem top to bottom, but obviously when we have the individual conversations with the tenants, we'll talk about those things. If there are issues, I happen to know who lives, I don't have a tenant below me because that's the community room. Now, we're not really using the community room right now, so I haven't experienced any noise. Somebody throws a wild party down here some night, and I don't get invited, we could have a problem. But I do know the tenants who live upstairs, you know, in the 3rd floor apartment, and we've not had, yeah, I know they're there, I know when they're home and when they're not home, but we don't have a real problem. Unfortunately,
It's just mostly the walls because
yeah,
I'm in the living room. He's on the telephone at 6:15 in the morning, and I can hear him in my bedroom.
yeah. Well, there's another component to this, and that's something else we will continue to work on. There are quiet hours in that building.
I don't like to complain to him because he's a man of color, and I don't want to get blamed.
I understand, nobody likes to complain, and nobody wants to be the guy that's pointing to the neighbor and saying you're screwing it up. But the reality is, the quiet hours were put there for a very good reason. And if people are not observing the quiet hours, we, the management, can't do anything to remediate that if we're not made aware of it.
But I don't think that these sound issues are quiet hour issues like from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I think the sound issues that the tenants have been addressing are normal phone conversation, toilet flushing.
Jane, I get it, but if somebody's talking on the phone at 6 o'clock in the morning and they're speaking in a loud voice, that in essence is contrary to what the quiet hours are in the building. You have to, now, we do have people living in the building who have relatives in other countries, so there's other time zones that come into play here. What we're trying to do is come up with solutions and with people respecting their neighbors to the point where it's workable. I'm not,
Well, I was going blind and I don't like to complain
I
about it.
understand.
But it's, I tell you, it's like, you want to scream at times, you know? Because if I'm sitting on my couch, I can tell you word for word what's in on the telephone.
We'll, first of all, we'll put the insulation in the walls, we'll put the new wall structure up, and we'll go from there. But we'll meet with each tenant individually and let them know what to expect and what's going to happen.
I hate to complain all the time, but it's a normal thing every day, you know?
But you will let the board know before the tenants know, so that we know what the
When it's
tenants.
gonna happen?
Yeah, well, when it's gonna happen and also what's going to happen. I mean, I think we as the board.
Yeah,
need to
I'd
know.
like to know what the plan is.
Yeah,
before-
we need to know.
Yeah, we
the
need a
plan
little
is.
more detail on that,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
as
yeah.
a logistics.
Yep.
Yeah, we
We'd very much like to know that.
Sure.
And what the start and dates are.
Oh, yeah,
When are we
absolutely.
planning on doing this?
Yeah,
And again, I can only tell you the building in general is very fortunate that I live out on the end, because if somebody makes noise and wakes me up at 6 o'clock in the middle of the night, woe betides that tenant.
And I've got hearing aids and I take them out and, you know, I'm not supposed to hear anything.
I understand.
I can hear him.
yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that for me, 6 o'clock is the middle of the night. I don't have to get up at that
It's
hour.
not every morning.
And I don't get up. Okay, anything else? Any other questions? Peter, you got any comments? Emmanuel? Any comments?
It sounds like you've got a plan that's in play, just to resolve an issue which clearly has been frustrating for everybody, the tenants in particular, and let's just move forward and get it implemented.
And there, just so everybody knows, there have been preliminary discussions with the building inspector, and we don't foresee any surprises here. They're aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we don't see anything. There's, we'll have to fill out some forms and things like that, but no surprises. Anything else? Moving right along. One other item under old business is not on the agenda, but I want to talk about it. We've gotten a couple more emails about the space between the fence and the wall
Oh, yeah.
here at the Heights.
Yeah.
And we believe we've got that taken care of now because we've finally got a manager from the landscaping company.
Yes, we do.
They're aware of what the problem is.
Yeah,
and,
so we now have like an actual crew manager. Before there was no one, so
okay, so
now
we expect to
I
have
have
it cleared
meetings
up.
with him.
There's a space between the fence we put up and the existing wall that was there before, and we've had some complaints that trash builds up in that area, and the landscapers were not going in there and cleaning it appropriately, nor often enough. So we think now that we have a manager for the crew that comes here to do the work, we think we've got that problem solved. Any of you who are at the Royal, I would hope you've all noticed the difference at the building next door where the ambulance, because our landscapers have now gone over there and done the landscaping, and I think it makes a tremendous difference when you first pull in that driveway.
Looks nice.
They did a nice job, it looks nice. New business, what do we got? Anything, anybody got anything?
The only thing I
I
could
think
suggest,
now we have a budget to vote on
oh,
Do
yes,
we have a budget to vote on?
yes.
for the Darien Housing Authority, and so people understand this is a budget which really relates to the two properties on West Avenue, which are adjacent to the Heights. They're not part of the Heights. And it's a formality. We have to vote on a budget, which is a July through June budget. I believe the commissioners have a copy of it. And
I can have it, I will
with
send
that,
it to you.
I would make a motion that it get approved.
I approve.
You makes the motion, you
Oh,
second?
oh, I'm sorry, did he make the,
You made the motion, right?
I made a
a second? All in favor? Say aye.
I say aye.
That's unanimous. We have a budget.
And just, Joe, so you are aware, in this budget is the monies that, from the easement for doing the plantings on the heights. It was most convenient to put it in this budget, so it's highlighted, so we are able to use it as necessary.
That's fine.
We don't know when they're gonna do that sidewalk yet, do we?
Actually, I spoke to Jeremy Ginsburg today, and he said they're planning to start in September.
Oh, good, wonderful, that'd be great.
Okay, then.
I'm just an idle comment. I'm curious as to who is keeping an eye up there because either the power company or the phone company put 2 brand spanking new telephone poles right smack dab in the middle of the easement. And, you know, we all know that project is going forward, so those poles are going to have to be relocated. And why it was decided to put them there in the first place just boggles my mind. I don't get it.
Joe, one of those frustrations when I was on planning and zoning was the utilities would never ask anyone what was going on. And we started doing work in an area which was either about to be renovated, or we would reach out to the utilities and say we're about to pave a road or replace a bridge, and they'd say we have no plans at the moment, and then immediately after it was finished, have to get it ripped up. It's just, one of those phenomenons of utilities.
I'm just, my personal comment, it doesn't make any sense. It's insane.
How the utilities overrode the easement?
Well, the road is going to go there. The poles have to go. There's going to be cars driving there. They can't stay. They have to go. If you drive by there, that corner,
I'm
you'll
not familiar with the area, I was
It's-
just questioning the easement and why
it's
they put it there.
craziness. Just, one
I have
hand not knowing what the other one is doing.
Yeah.
Anything else under new business?
Just one thing, Crystal did a great job putting some signs up on at the heights here on the outside of the trash bins. I would suggest that we replace the paper. I know you put them, it's paper then covered with like
It's laminated, yeah.
yeah, that we replace that with a permanent sign. They're getting a little, with all the rain and everything else, that we make permanent signs there. Be a little bit easier to read, and they're, couple months of rain and everything else, they're not looking so good.
Hopefully it's starting to change the behavior.
Yeah, I think I checked 90% of the trash areas today and walked them. And I didn't see what we used to see, which is excessive trash in there. So, I think it's helping. Yeah.
In general, we're getting better. I don't want people to think that this is a hopeless place, that, some bad things happen and it just kept getting worse. As things happen, we got on top of it, thank you, Crystal, and the situation is getting better in both locations. I don't believe we're having any serious problems with parking at the Royal now. People have begun to recognize that they can't just willy-nilly park wherever they want. That's not saying everybody obeys the rules. I'm just saying we've not anywhere near the number of incidents that we had when we first moved in there. So little by little, we're making progress. Anything else under new business? Close under new.
We do.
What do you got?
On the Royal, we noticed that the hallway doors to the back stairwell, somebody's propping them open, and Peggy and I have both gone down and closed them, and then we come the next day and they're open again.
And
So why are the doors open? The doors are not supposed to be open.
it's supposed to be open, and
Closed. Yes, that's what they're using to prop
And
them.
there's one open on the second floor, and I went out today, and the second floor's open, those are fire doors.
Okay.
And then Liz and I came home the other night, and just out of curiosity, we walked, and I don't block anybody's view,
That's,
and the fire door, or the emergency exit on the first floor, as you're going to the playroom, or,
the common
room, that was propped open too.
Okay.
And that is a serious issue.
So we originally propped them for a little bit because it was so hot in the corridor, but we have since closed them, but now it looks like residents saw what we did and are taking it upon themselves to try it.
They're propped every
They're propped
single
because it's
day.
not happening by us anymore, so I will send out a notice.
Yeah.
We'll get on top.
Maybe what you were talking about, signs for the trash,
maybe we need a sign on those doors, must remain closed for fire safety or something.
Exactly.
So that people will understand the reason why they have to stay closed.
We'll figure out what has to be done, but it has to be done.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
can't be, the
The other thing is that,
stairwells and are pressurized so that if there's any smoke in the building, it doesn't get into the stairwell. And that's completely negated if those doors are propped open.
exactly. And the other thing is, we understood that the keys were keyed so that you could enter via the patio door, but we went over there the other night and neither of our keys worked.
That's not set up to open via the patio door. We have to figure out a game plan that door automatically shuts behind everyone, because if it doesn't, then we have a problem with people entering that don't need to be in the building. So you can enter the community room from the main door.
Yeah,
But once you go outside, you'll have to come back around until I get an automatic door shutter for that other door.
Okay.
Well, but if people are out there,
I cannot trust that everyone's gonna make sure the door's closed. So my biggest thing right now is your safety first, to make sure that the building is always locked. So until I can get an automatic door closer, I cannot let that door open from the outside right now.
Okay.
the other thing the other night I come home late.
And I was with you, Jane, like too, where we found
And
the door
the
open.
first floor apartment,
The one that they were working on.
the one they were working on, was open. The door was ajar
From the outside or the?
from the
Yeah.
The
outside.
patio door was open
Patio,
on that apartment? We'll get on the contract.
I mean, I closed it
Yeah,
and then I went
Thank
around,
you.
I went
appreciate
around, I didn't lock it, just closed it.
Yeah.
Went around to check to see if the apartment side, so if anybody walked in, they could just unlock it and,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
from the outside, they can open that apartment door.
Exactly, so, but I'm just saying, I just closed it.
If we notice it again and we go through the patio door, lock it there and then go to the apartment. We can lock
Yeah,
it
that would be
there.
the best, and then reach out to me, you've
Yes.
called me before on my cell phone emergency, you can definitely do
Okay.
that. I will make sure that
Okay.
we tell construction.
Okay, so the other thing we wanted to talk about was, we were gonna try and organize a Memorial Day
Labor
Day, pick the wrong holiday, Labor Day get-together in the building, like maybe the Monday of Labor Day weekend. So we're questioning how to put up signs, how to reach out to people. Is there a fund for paper plates, napkins, and things like
Yeah,
that?
actually, I already had spoke about doing an event for you guys along with the fire drill I had planned, and then the sound.
Right,
Yeah,
over
but-
everything.
So, yeah, so we do, I definitely wanna do an event for you, it's just, I guess, a matter of how the sound is gonna play into it, like all the sound work, but,
Okay.
yeah,
So wait and see, basically.
Why is the sound?
No,
gonna
we'll do it
work
no
into
matter what.
it?
okay.
Right,
Yeah.
it's
You sure?
Memorial
Yes,
Day, Labor
100%.
Day weekend, and it's the community room and outside. What does that have to do with sound?
We will do it 100% no matter what,
Okay.
and we'll organize,
So-
help organize something.
I think what Crystal was concerned about is that she wanted to schedule something, but she wanted to be sure that she was coordinating
Right,
with possible construction.
Right.
But
but he says it's not wrong,
it's not, that's a non-issue.
right.
Regardless of anything, we will go ahead with some kind of Labor Day.
Yeah, I already reached out to like an ice cream shop and all that. I did all that. Mira and I have been working on getting all that for you guys. It's just, we hadn't pulled the gun yet because we were waiting to see what's happening.
Okay.
We'll put something
We will
together.
try.
And if you do it on Saturday or Sunday, I won't be there.
We'll
Yes.
save your ice cream, we'll
I
put it in
hate
the
to miss
freezer.
a good Well, it's just that weekend is the family picnic at the firehouse,
Oh, okay.
and I'm the cook.
No, we'll go to yours then. We'll go to yours for dinner and ours for dessert.
There you go. Anything else from, nobody here from the Heights? You got anything going on here at the Heights?
No, other than the few little things that you already mentioned and that I mentioned, no, we're in good shape.
Okay. Hearing no other business from the floor, if everybody's satisfied we've covered everything, we will, do we have anything for executive session? Do we have
Yeah, I have a
anything
couple
we
things
want to
for
talk about?
executive session.
I'm sorry?
I have a couple things for executive session related
Okay.
You, wait a minute, we gotta adjourn the public session and then we'll go into executive session. Okay? So, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the public session. All in favor? We will not be coming out of executive session to vote on anything. There are no items on the executive session agenda that require us to come and vote. Okay, so essentially our business is done.